Have you ever known what someone was going to say about wet shaving right before he said it? Or have you ever walked into a strange room and you knew that everyone there was thinking about wet shaving? If so, then you're ready for the powerful human experience that follows. Sarge and I are ready to take that next step beyond into the world of traditional shaving, aren't we, Sarge? Yay, Sarge. I'll put you down, buddy. There you go. There you go. All right. Hi there. I've already prepped my face with Village Barber shaving oil. My razor today is going to be this Schick Quattro razor, which is kind of like a heavy cartridge razor. It's a double edge, but each edge has a twin blade. The blade in there will be on its first use. And Sarge is eating some of his food down there. I'm going to take one for the team today, and I'm going to use this Proraso. It's shaving foam. It's cocoa butter. I always want to say shea butter, but that's different. It's the cocoa butter Proraso shaving foam. I had trouble finding a large size one of these. I keep getting these little travel size ones of these, which don't last for very long, but this should last me for a while. So I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, no brush and soap today. No cream in a tube. Just this. And it smells great. I know that on the channel before I have used, I think I've used the tiny little one that's only about yay big, you know. But and I've used this Schick Quattro razor that came out a few years ago. So I'll just lather up here. La la la. Yeah. Like I said, or started to say anyway, this stuff smells fantastic. If you like the smell of cocoa butter, this is really good smelling stuff. Let me rinse my hand off here. And I'll dry off on the big gray towel. Now I'll wet the razor. And we'll start pass number 1, which will be with the grade. I've got 2 days worth of growth here. So, very heavy razor, so even though it's pretty mild because it's similar to a cartridge razor, twin blades, double edge, and probably still better to let the weight of the razor do most of the work. Do a bit of a Gillette slide there, which is what they call that diagonal slide there. And I can flip the razor over like a regular double edge and go over here. Do another Gillette slide there. I'm going to go ahead and rinse the razor too. Okay, well, let's see. Sarge, do you want out? I thought you wanted out. You want out, Kitty? Go ahead. He was kind of sitting there. Usually he doesn't like to stay in here too long, especially if the door is shut. I've been binge watching an old program called One Step Beyond, which it's sort of like the Twilight Zone, but they their stories were purported to be true or based on true stories of psychic experiences and things of that nature. It only ran for 2.5 seasons on ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, between January of 1959 and June or July of 1961. So 2.5 seasons, or series, as they would say on the other side of the pond. Excuse me. Oh God, am I going to sneeze again? To my neck now. Yep, there it was. I'll flip the razor over and get the other side of my neck and underneath the chin here. I guess I'm allergic to myself. I'll be right back, and then we'll do a second pass across the grain. Okay, we'll go across the grain now. I hope I'm done sneezing. Had to blow my nose in the interim there. So, I guess it was last night. I was watching one of those old One Step Beyond programs, and they were originally in black and white, hosted by John Newland. The series had a reboot in 1978 in color, also hosted by a then bespectacled John Newland. But anyway, regarding one of the old original episodes in black and white, there was one I was watching last night where, oh, incidentally, the reboot was called The Next Step Beyond. The original was One Step Beyond. And the reboot was syndicated. The original was on ABC television network. A syndicated show, they just sell to, it's not shown on any one particular network. It's sold to whatever television stations want to air it, or they sort of rent it to air it or whatever. The reboot only lasted one season. Excuse me, I'll continue my story here in a minute. So anyway, yesterday I was watching one of the original black and white One Step Beyond programs, and it was about a lady who kept having dreams that a plane was going to crash into her house. And anyway, she finally got her husband to believe her, or at least accept the possibility that these dreams of hers were something that could really happen. And her and her husband ended up staying in a motel room the night that she thought the plane was actually going to crash into their house. And they then, in real life, a plane crashed into the motel room where they were staying, but they got out just in time because they both heard the sputtering of the plane in trouble up above the motel. Excuse me. Well, this was based on a story where a lady was having dreams that the plane was going to crash into her home, and I think maybe even her and her husband in real life did go rent a motel room. I mean, in real life. And a plane didn't crash into their motel room, but a plane ended up crashing that night into a garage apartment 20 feet from their house. And that's pretty weird, but I have an even weirder, I guess, addendum to that. In the dramatized story on One Step Beyond, the lady remembered the oh, it's a long story, but in her dream she could see the registration number, which was painted on the tail end of the tail of the airplane. And anyway, something like, oh, what was it? 17 years later, about 29 miles from the real home where she and her husband lived at the time, a plane with that same number crashed 29 miles from their home. A real plane that was given that same registration number on the phony prop plane or whatever from the TV show. Okay, enough of that. I'll be right back, and then we'll go be pass number 3, Against the Grain. Okay, we'll go against the grain. I'll start on my neck for this pass. So One Step Beyond actually preceded The Twilight Zone over on CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System, another network. But they were both filmed at MGM Studios. So later in 1959, Twilight Zone had its first official episode in October of that year. One Step Beyond began in January of that year, but Twilight Zone lasted until about June of 1964, minus a half season where they couldn't find a sponsor or something like that. That's another story, but I guess that at MGM Studios or somewhere, Rod Serling walked up to John Newland, who was the host of One Step Beyond, and he said, "I'm going to be doing an anthology show, but it's going to be purely based on fantasy. None of it is based on purportedly true stories, so I'm not trying to rip you off," is what Rod Serling, the creator and host of Twilight Zone, said to John Newland, who was just the host and the director of each episode of One Step Beyond. Excuse me. Anyway, there were lots of anthology shows, but not all of them dealt with the supernatural or psychic phenomena or horror or fantasy or science fiction or what have you. Some of them just had regular dramas, straight dramas. Dramas not involving anything psychic or supernatural or whatever. There aren't as many, I don't think there's any anthology shows anymore, are they? An anthology show has a different star each week, and the only thing that usually holds, well, the only common thread running through each episode is usually the same host. And in the case of first John Newland and then later on Rod Serling, when it was the host's time to speak, he would walk right onto the set and if there was anybody on the set, I mean, that had just said a line or done something acting, they would seem to not know the guy was there. It would look like the guy was appearing in people's houses randomly, houses of people to whom these events in the story were happening. Excuse me. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I kind of stumble over my words when I'm trying to give one of my TV history, my little lectures that I've been giving. Because I once took broadcasting and mass communication classes in college a long time ago. I'll be right back, and then it'll be pickup time. Well, I'm going to go straight into pickups because I've been talking a lot, and that kind of makes these shaves go longer than they should, I suppose. So in order not to add too much time to the video, I've already gone straight into pickups with no fanfare. Sometimes I do that. No reappearance of Sarge the cat. No magic clock. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know what I'm talking about. If not, if you're a new subscriber, welcome. And, you have hopefully, a lot to look forward to. I like to have a little fun here on the channel. Okay, I'm going to rinse the razor and go over my neck one more time. I may have gotten myself down here. May have even given myself a little razor burn, although it doesn't hurt and doesn't sting. And I don't know that this is going to be a BBS shave because I'm kind of using it's sort of like a glorified cartridge razor. In the early days of what became known as cartridge razors, some of them, there were some kind of, I guess you could call them glorified cartridge razors that didn't have like a heavy metal handle like the Schick Quattro. They had just like maybe a light plastic handle or something, and they were okay. You can still find them occasionally on eBay unused. You can still find the blades for them occasionally, and maybe even in antique shops, you know, eBay antique old stuff. Not that everything on eBay is old; a lot of it's brand new. But anyway, that's another story. I'll be right back with Mr. Towel. Here's Mr. Towel, our good friend. Oh. Yeah, this is more like a DFS, a darn fine shave. Not BBS, not baby bottom smooth. I'd say it's a little bit better than just a presentable shave. But, yeah, it's okay, but, you'd do better, even using that shaving foam, you'd do better, using a safety razor, an old-fashioned safety razor, or old type with the double-edged blades, or the single-edge blades, or whatever. Okay, well, I'm going to start a brief recap, and I'm going to put the finishing touches on the shave. I started out off camera. I prepped my face with Village Barber shaving oil, and my razor has been this Ship Quattro razor. It's a double-edged twin blade, and yeah, it has proprietary blades. And my shaving foam was this Proraso cocoa butter, the yellow can, yellow label, very nice. And I'm going to go ahead and apply some of this Dickinson's Witch Hazel. And yeah, here we go. Wow. Getting a little bit of sting there. Not a lot. It's because store-bought witch hazel like that usually is 14% alcohol by volume. Although there is actual witch hazel in it. So I'll show you that again. It's the Dickinson's Witch Hazel. Now I'm going to reach over here for, might be the last of this bottle, but I've got another bottle of this, the Pinaud Clubman Special Reserve, which you wouldn't think would necessarily go with that cocoa butter, but it kind of seems to in an odd sort of way. And I don't have any cocoa butter scented aftershave or aftershave balm, so there may be such a thing, but I don't have it. So I get some going in my hands here, a little on the wrists, up behind the ears, on the temples, back of the neck. And, ooh, there's a lot of sting there, my friends. But a very nice, I think, manly scent. But there's something a little bit, just a little bit of sweet scent in there. And it seems like I still got enough for maybe one more shave or maybe two more shaves. You don't need a whole lot of it, and it seems I've had this little bottle for quite some time now, several years, because I don't use the same aftershave every day. And let's see here, still doing okay on time. So now I'm going to apply some of the Nivea Men Protect Care aftershave balm. And here we go. I'll pour some in my hand. Oh, that's probably way more than enough right there. Usually this Nivea is another product where a little dab will do you. Mm-hmm. This really helps helps you feel better anyway. I did get a little bit of irritation there, a little razor burn, I guess, but this makes you feel a lot better. And usually, for me anyway, it seems like after a couple of hours, the redness, if there is any redness, will go away, or at least become less pronounced. Okay. So I'll show you that one more time. That's the Nivea Men Protect Care Aftershave Balm. Well, I gotta go on behalf of myself, Mr. Towel, Sarge the Cat, and I suppose also the late John Newland and the late Rod Serling. I hope they're not around here. Peace.